Hey everybody, Brett from AstartesGaming here, back with a tentative part 1 for a new Crusader Kings 2 series. I say tentative because, as always, my Let's Plays depend on how much viewership they get. So if a bunch of people want to see this, then obviously we'll continue, but if it doesn't get great views, then, well, unfortunately, we'll just try to find something else to play. But Crusader Kings 2 was a very big part of my channel for a very long time, and I do enjoy playing it, so I'm going to give it another try now. We've done it before, or we've played it quite a bit before in the past, so if you're newer to the channel, you may not have seen it, you may not be familiar with it, but I highly recommend you go check it out. I have Let's Plays on all sorts of different mods for the game. We started with the Elder Kings mod, which is the Elder Scrolls overhaul, or for those of you not super familiar with the franchise, the Skyrim overhaul, but we played through as various different races and factions. We were actually able to start out as the Jarl of Windhelm and conquer all of Skyrim to become the High King. And I think that playthrough went over 100 episodes on its own. We've also played other mods, such as the Game of Thrones overhaul that was tied in with our Clash of Kings mod Let's Play for Warband, where we actually played as the father of our character in the Warband series and sort of tried to give a backstory to that playthrough with a different game. We also did a King Arthur playthrough with the, I'm blanking on the name now, the Winter King mod, there it is. And so with this playthrough, we're actually going to be playing a mod called When the World Stopped Making Sense, which is a horribly cliche title, but that's the title. And the mod does look very interesting. It's set right around the fall of the Western Roman Empire, and so there's a lot of political turmoil and stuff happening, a lot of emerging factions, and also a lot of religious tensions, because at this point Christianity was gaining a lot of power because the empire in the West is collapsing, and so a lot of that power vacuum created is being taken up by Christianity, or the church. So let's go ahead and start setting up our game, and I'll explain our plan for the series as we go. So obviously we're going to be playing single player. We're going to start a new game, and I'm going to do the 476 setting, which is right around the time that the Western Roman Empire fell. So the Western Roman Empire actually is still active in that part of the playthrough. As you go on, the major faction is basically going to be the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantines, and eventually the Franks will kind of emerge in the middle here as well. The Goths are very prominent too. So yeah, we're going to go 476, the earliest one, and we're going to be playing as Julius Nepos, but I'm actually going to go to a custom game setup so you guys can get a better idea of what's happening here. So we'll do realm view. And so the Western Roman Empire does still exist, but it is essentially just the Italian peninsula and what's south of and a little bit east of the Alps. And it's currently ruled by, I don't know if, is that Ravenna that I clicked on? Yeah. Okay. So it's ruled by a child, an 8-year-old child named Romulus Augustulus. And he is not going to be in power for very long, if history is any indication. We are going to be playing as Vicar Julius Nepos over here. And I might tweak him because I think he starts out kind of crappy if you don't. But our goal in this playthrough is going to be to try to usurp that throne, or if we wait long enough, it could get passed on to us as sort of like the last remaining vestiges of the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire, that is. So we're going to try to gain that title and then reclaim what originally belonged to the Western Roman Empire. So not just this, obviously, but that is going to be part of it, but the Western Roman Empire held basically all of this. So that's going to be our main goal. And maybe back into Britannia as well. Britannia is very divided, so if we were able to do this, we would be able to push on, probably beyond Hadrian's Wall, even. So that's our goal. I'm going to go into the ruler designer here, and I want him to look the same. I don't mind that appearance. So I'll try to get it back here. I'm going to fiddle with this for a little while, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I think we're ready to go here. I have got our character all set up, and he's quite good, so we don't have to worry about rolling the dice with whatever character they decide to stick us with. So, let me run through this real quick, and I am aware that his name is spelled wrong. The game won't let me start if his name is identical, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add an additional S to the end, and then save edit that away so that he will be Julius Nepos. Anyways, he is a charismatic negotiator. That's the educational trait I decided to go with. His diplomacy is at 15, his martial skill is at 8, stewardship 13, intrigue 13, and learning 12. So everything except martial skill is 10 or better. And I was actually trying to get this down to 7, because if it's under 8, we can actually make our ambition trying to improve that. But unfortunately, there wasn't anything I could do that would lower it. Which sucks, but it is what it is. Now, the reason he's so good, despite being only 36 years old, is because I decided to go with the wounded trait, and I do this often. But I don't recommend doing it if you're fairly new to the game, because your character can potentially, if he's wounded, die. And I've had it happen. So it is kind of a gamble, but it gives you 11 years back to work with. So for a temporary thing, it can be very, very good to allow yourself a couple more points to work with. Because 11 is a lot. That's enough to give yourself ambitious or diligent, which are two of the best traits that you can have on a primary character. Those are both 10, so just the fact that you're wounded could give you an additional one of those. But again, character could die early on if he doesn't heal from that wound. And it obviously does have some negative effects while it's there, but it will go away if he survives. So again, a bit of a gamble, but more often than not it pays off, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Let's see. So he is quick, and I'm going to be careful to try to cultivate that into our children. So I don't know whether or not I want to start him married, but you know, I could go single, and actually that gives me some years back. I might do that. By the way, he starts at 41, I think. 46, so we're actually shaving quite a bit of time off of this here. And I could even throw in another trait and still be younger than him. I think 34 is good, though. Let's give ourselves some time. It is a bit ahistorical, but it's not that bad. Anyways, we're going to go unmarried. That way we can choose a suitable wife rather than just having to deal with whatever they give us. And we'll try to find somebody who's also quick. That way it's more likely our children will be quick. He's ambitious, which is, again, going to be sort of evident through our playthrough. I'm not going to play him as super honorable or super dishonorable. I'm just going to be very pragmatic with him. So sort of whatever he needs to do to get the job done is what he's going to do, within reason. I'm not going to like murder our own children. I should say that it's happened before, but I'm going to try to avoid stuff like that if I can. And obviously, if there's a risk that we get caught, I don't want to be a kinslayer. So yeah. He's cynical, so the church isn't going to be super fond of him, but it is what it is. He's also a bit stubborn. And he's also just. So a little bit of honorable there, but he's fair and he's pragmatic, but that doesn't mean he's not cunning. Clearly. I mean, his intrigue is 13, and he's also wounded. So this is our character. I've done my best to match the coat of arms. Like, there wasn't an eagle that was identical, but it's close enough. And I've managed to match the colors, so there we have it. Let's go ahead and get started. Here's our new Julius Nepos. I wonder if I do this again, since I've already replaced him, can I go back and take the S off? I wonder if it would let me do that. Did I just like con the game? No, I didn't. Okay. No, the game knew better. Oh, did it get rid of it? God. Okay, so I was able to fix that and get it all back. Stats are all the same. Luckily I remembered all this. His appearance might be slightly different, but there we go. Let's go ahead and get started then. Okay, so here we are. Let's go ahead and get started. Apparently, Julius Nepos himself has arrived in court. One thing I'd like to do in this playthrough is what I do in a lot of my other playthroughs that accommodate it, which is create custom characters based on stuff that you guys roleplay in the comments. And so the way that I would like to go about that is I'm going to have like two different things running here. The first will be character submissions with potential lineages. So for example, if I bring in, like if we went to, what is it under? If I went to intrigue and I decided to invite a diplomat or something and then give him land, that character would then be established and he'd have his own lineage. those types of characters, you guys are welcome to submit. I don't know how often or how thorough I'll be able to accommodate them, but I'm going to try. I know I can change names and faces to some degree in the save editor, so that's something I would like to be able to do. And I don't know about heraldry, but I'll try. Anyways, characters that are, I guess, randomly generated are going to be the ones I replace. So anybody who's a historical character, I'm not going to replace. But if I, do that and create somebody new that the game just kind of spits out, those characters aren't historical, and so I'll replace them with ones that you come up with. Since Julius Nepos exists twice in this world, once as our character and once as the one that we replaced, I'll probably replace him with one of your characters as well, just so that he's not floating around kind of like, breaking timelines or anything. And then the other is going to be name submissions for sons and daughters. So when we have children, the game will allow us to replace their name. I will be taking names for those as well. And I'm going to use a tag, just like in my RimWorld playthroughs for that. So it'll be hashtag or # Crusader Kings 2 name, all one word, no spaces. And I'll try to remember to show the tag in the video, or I'll post it in the comments or something just so you can actually see it written out. But that tagline will allow me to search through my community tab and find all those names immediately. If you don't use the tag, then I'll have to just kind of like go through all the comments and all the videos, and I don't want to have to do that. So if you forget the tag, your name is probably going to fall through the cracks, so please remember to use it. I don't know how I'm going to do the other submissions yet. With those, I would really appreciate it if you would roleplay along, but you don't have to. Again, the way I choose stuff like that is based on people who contribute the most in the comments. So contribute however you want to contribute. You can do that via role-playing, or you can give suggestions, or just check in and, say, hey, great job, great video, whatever. I don't care, as long as you're actively commenting and stuff, because I want to know that I'm rewarding the people that are sticking with the series and not, rewarding somebody who watched an episode and then never came back. With the name submissions, I don't care as much, because there's going to be, or with the child name submissions, that is, I'm going to pick them based on whichever name I like the best for that child. So with those, I don't care about role-playing and stuff so much. I mean, it would be hard because, again, you don't really know when or if your name's going to be used, or what any of that's going to be like. So we'll kind of figure that out as we go. But it's something I'd like to incorporate into the series, because we haven't really been able to do that in any of the other Crusader Kings series, and I think it would be fun to try. So with that, there is a caveat. All the names need to be historically friendly, so or lore friendly, whatever you want to call it. I don't want people submitting their screen name as names. I get that all the time, and I just ignore them. So if you don't want your submission ignored, make sure it's historically friendly. That said, we are kind of playing in like a very Roman world here, so there are plenty of Roman names you could come up with, I'm sure. Do not just use a historical character from this period or from a historical period. The whole point is to be like creative and roleplay and have fun. So just copying and pasting like Julius Caesar, I'm probably just going to ignore that. But yeah, I want people to be involved, and so this is something I want to try to do. So we'll see how it goes. What else? Oh, do bear with me. I haven't played Crusader Kings in a while, and the game has been updated many, many times since the last time we played together. So there is going to be things I struggle with. I'm sure some of the UI has been moved around, and there may be new features added by expansions that I haven't tested yet. So just kind of, bear with me on that. Anyways, let's get started. The first thing that we need to do is we need to choose a council. Let's see, 14, that's pretty good. Diocletian. Yeah, why not? He's a master schemer, but he's actually better at diplomacy. Well, let's make sure that... Okay, so... I don't know, you're more of a general, Justin. I'm going to let Claudius do it, since he's almost as good, and that's... Well, he's good at quite a few things, actually, but that's okay. That's his best skill, whereas your best skill is actually martial. So we're going to make you our Frumentarius. And I guess Diocletian is going to be our Magister Officiorum. Our Magister Militum is Galenius here. And I'm willing to bet he's probably the best one. Yeah, Justin's a close second. Well, not really a close second, but he is a second. And then we have two choices for our steward. Either Felix or Justin. Justin is just good at a lot of stuff. I'd like to reward him with some sort of position, but I feel like he's kind of wasted there. So, yeah, let's make Felix our steward, because that's, again, his best skill. So he's not wasted. And then I don't want any of these guys leading armies except for our Magister Militum. Now, the Magister Militum is an interesting position. It's not quite that well represented in Crusader Kings, but the Magister Militums during this period, at least in the West, but often in the East too, were sometimes more powerful than the emperors themselves, because they were essentially like almost like the military dictator of that part of the empire, and the emperor, in a lot of cases, was really just a figurehead by this point. But we're going to try to make sure that's not the case here. So let's see. I don't know that fabricating claims is going to help us too much right now. We obviously can't beat any of these surrounding factions. We have the Western Roman Empire to our northwest. We have the Eastern Roman Empire to our southeast. And then to our northeast/east, we have Ostrogothica, or the Ostrogoths. And they are all three far more powerful than us. So I think some sabotage might be better. Let's see, 4%, 4%. I'm looking at revolt risk, 5%. It looks like all those are fairly high. I mean, relatively. Yeah, these are all 1. So stirring up a revolt there is going to be hard. These are 2. Yeah, so I think we're going to... Maybe we'll just do this adjacent one here, because the only one that was higher is this one. So let's try to stir up a revolt there. We'll sow some dissent, and maybe we can get this to kind of fracture and make it easier for us to conquer. I want you training troops in the capital. I want you collecting taxes in the capital. You should probably be scheming in the capital, protecting us from other stuff happening. And then why don't you improve our religious relations with Rome? Now, I don't think there's actually a pope in this game, which by this point in history there were popes, so I'm not sure why he's called a High Patriarch. But fine, okay, so he's the leader of our faith. We need to choose an ambition still. Let's look at our laws first. I'll just kind of go through the tabs. So our inheritance, well, first of all, we're a hereditary despotic kingdom. And our inheritance law is agnatic primogeniture. So basically the oldest child inherits everything, but only boys. That's a pretty good inheritance law. It makes it very easy to pass on all of your titles and stuff. The alternative is, let's see, agnatic cognatic would allow women to inherit. Absolute cognatic would allow women to inherit on the same grounds. So this one is like boys first. This one is just whoever's oldest. I might try to go for one of these, because that makes it even easier for us to maintain our hold on our titles, because that way if somebody ends up only having a daughter, then, well, at least our daughter will inherit, rather than it passing on to like a brother or something. As long as it's within the family, we're fine. But ideally, it would be within our own, very specific lineage too. So this is something that we could go after, and it looks like all we would need is to reign for 10 years, which we plan on doing. This one is going to be more complicated. So I think we should just go for the agnatic cognatic. That way, boys first, but daughters can inherit if they need to. This is going to be much harder to achieve. And we can try for it, but honestly, I don't care as long as we have the option. Now, primogeniture is fine by me. I really don't want Gavelkind. I hate Gavelkind. It divides our titles between our children, and that makes it really hard to maintain control of the important titles. Because depending on how many children you have, they can get split up, pretty frequently, and So you might hang on to the main title, but you're probably going to lose everything else eventually. So having primogenitor is good. The only other one I could think of that would be good is the ultimogenitor, which is essentially the same thing, but it's the youngest child. That way it ensures that whoever ends up taking over is going to reign for a longer period, because depending on how old your king is when he dies, his eldest son might be fairly old as well. You know, if your king dies at 70 and has a son when he's like 25, then all of a sudden you have a fresh king at 45 years old, and he's not going to be around for very long. So it just depends. Obviously that won't be a problem with him because he's 34. His son's going to be at least 34 years younger. But yeah, let's see, the oldest member of the dynasty. Yeah, we definitely don't want that. So I'm pretty good with this. I'm just going to try to eventually make agnatic cognatic happen. But right now our heir is just our steward for whatever reason. I don't know why he's first, but that's fine. Realm laws, we can actually try to put one through right now. We can either improve crown authority, which is going to allow us to revoke titles. Now, I don't think there's any titles to revoke. Yeah, we actually hold all of them, except for the really minor ones, but you know, whatever. Those don't really matter. So that's kind of irrelevant right now. It is something we'll want to get eventually, but maybe centralization would be better. Let's see, domain size, currently we're at 5 holdings out of 4 possible, or 4 is what we're supposed to have, essentially. So we are taking a slight penalty, and that increases our vassal limit too. Let's do that. Legalism is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, we apparently have that because we're able to do this. So yeah, let's increase our domain size a little bit, and our realm size, or our vassal limit. And then, once this is through, we will try to push through a limited crown authority. Now, it might be a while before we're able to do that, but every time we have the opportunity, we should. We can't change any of this, so let's not bother. Obviously, no technology is going to be available yet. It looks like we're able to muster about 1,300 troops, which isn't great, but that's just what we've got to deal with. And let's see. Go on a pilgrimage. Probably a bit early for that. Choose a patron saint. I'm not going to do that, because I remember doing this in a different playthrough, or maybe one on my own time, and there's some trade-offs, and I don't want to deal with that right now. Yeah, I think we'll just leave all this be for the time being. No factions, nothing to really do here, and no societies. This is new to me. I haven't played anything with this. I don't know what expansion this is a part of, but I haven't dealt with societies yet, so that'll be something I have to learn. The ruler is currently unmarried, and we don't have an ambition. So let's see what our ambitions are, or at least the ones available. We should probably do get married, because that's a very low-hanging fruit. Gain a virtue, befriend a priest, find love. I think we should try for a marriage first. I always just try to grab whatever's easiest. 500 wealth is going to be difficult to achieve this early, but definitely doable within a couple years. That is well off. We want to do a Paragon of Virtue first. Oh, that's piety, never mind. Although we'd probably hit 500 piety before we hit 1,000 prestige. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not with his traits. Assemble a great council. So basically everybody has to be 20 or better. That's not too bad, actually. Increase domain. We could do that after we get married, because we are essentially working on that right now. Can't go traveling yet, but we will send him on a pilgrimage eventually. Gain a virtue. That one's hard to control. You have to kind of get lucky to make that one happen. Some of these, yeah, back here you do. So let's do get married, because we're going to get him married right now. Let's go into Character Finder. And you know what, before we do that, let's look at the major factions around. So we have the Byzantines. Their capital's in Constantinople. I'm going to go back and forth between Eastern Roman Empire and Byzantines, because they're the same culture, or the same civilization. They are the Eastern Roman Empire. They refer to themselves as Romans. The reason they're called Byzantines is just to kind of distinguish them from the Western Roman Empire, which, you know, is the one that I think most people think of when they hear Roman Empire. But the reason they're called the Byzantines is because the city prior to becoming the capital of the East was called Byzantium, and then when Constantine made it the capital, it became Constantinople or Constantinopolis. So, yeah. I'm going to go back and forth between those names. Just letting you know now. Okay, so you don't have any daughters. You do have a son who is 16. If we had a daughter, that could be a potential match. Allying with them could be very helpful. Now, we could try diplomatic marriages to maneuver into the West, but we have an 8-year-old emperor with a father, and he's an only child, so can't really marry into that family. Not really going to work, especially since the only people in that family are men. So let's just go to the character finder then, and we are looking for a woman. Apparently there's only 4. No, we're searching everybody. Preferably not in prison. Definitely not married, because we're trying to marry her. If she is a ruler, that's fine. Diplo range? What is that? That's new. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to join court. Doesn't necessarily need to be able to join our court. I'm gonna say any religion now, but we may need to revisit that. Adult, yes. Great house, preferably, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Okay, and then... Oh, god damn it. Why did I hit that? I'm just hitting all the wrong buttons today. Okay, in prison, no. Married, no. Right. So... who is the best character available? Actually, it might be easier to do it this way. That's only going to show within here, isn't it? Yeah, it's only within my realm. Which is not going to work. What is this? Direct leader. Okay. I wouldn't mind putting her in charge of an army, but I don't think the game will let me. So yeah, I can't do it that way. Let's sort by skills, and that should kind of bring the people with the better traits to the forefront. I want somebody who is quick, because, again, with him being quick, with the wife being quick, there's a good chance that the kids will be quick. She's a genius. Minus 20, you just don't like me. Out of diplomatic range. Okay, so that's what that means. So can I not... I can try to kidnap her. That's probably not a good idea. I'm going to say... within our diplomatic range. And I think that will be a good way to kind of filter this down. She's a pretty good character. Let's see. Martial skill, stewardship. Again, I want people that are really intelligent. You're just. Charitable, patient. I mean, those are good traits. Those are all good traits. You're ambitious. I want our eldest son to be ambitious, but I don't want all of our children to be ambitious. She's willing to come join us. I'm going to say, why don't you come to our court and I'll find you somebody to marry. If it's not Julius, then it'll maybe be, you know, one of our primary nobles or something. She's a Briton. That's interesting. Okay, I think you are Christian though, right? Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to come join our court. She might with a bribe. She is quick, proud, stubborn, cruel, and diligent. Not bad. Not bad. She's Pannonian. Same religion, though. If I married you to Julius, what would we be looking at? I would take a huge hit. Oh, because she's lowborn. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to say that she's part of a great house. Because unfortunately, the prestige hit is just too much if we don't marry somebody from a great house. So we're going to say yes. Well, not mine. I guess just yes. Our great house isn't big enough to really be an issue. Right. So that limits things down a little bit. A lot of older women here. We're looking for somebody his age or younger. Doesn't have to be super young, but definitely want them to be adult, which we already filtered the children out, so that's fine. And again, I want somebody with a good assortment of traits. Romano-Illyrian. That means she's probably fairly nearby. Those are decent traits too, because Illyria is, I always want to call it Yugoslavia, but Yugoslavia is not a country anymore. So, like, Croatia, Bosnia, and Herzegovina, those types of countries. Serbia, like this here. So that's Illyria. I mean, she's not a bad option. This person holds claims to titles. Western and Eastern Roman Empire. That is probably a good move for us. The problem, though... Well, no. It's not a problem. I just won't invite her. Because if I married her to somebody else, she would give those claims to them, potentially. And I don't want to be bringing claims into my, kingdom that could eventually be used against me. So, Anastasia, definitely going to invite you to court. Or, actually, hold on, I might just marry you outright, because you're looking like the best option. You got pretty good martial skill. Brave, zealous, humble, and charitable. Not bad. We have Camilla, who is a terrible character. Didn't I say adult? Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to say adult now. Hopefully, Anastasia is still there. Okay, good. Yeah, she's 26. That's right about the age I was looking for. Not seeing anybody else that jumps out at me. I was really hoping we could find somebody who is quick or a genius. But they were all out of diplomatic range. Or at least the only ones I saw. So, it looks like Helena's ambitious. Proud, wroth, deceitful. Not a great assortment of traits there. Agretia, or Agretia, I like Agretia better, has good traits. Skills are okay. But I think Anastasia was the best character we've seen. Again, I really wish that she was quick and or a genius, but she's got decent traits, decent skills. So I think she's going to be the one. That diplomatic range thing is interesting. I don't think I've ever dealt with that before. That must be fairly new. Because before you could just cherry pick anybody in the game. And clearly we can't do that anymore. So one last pass through here. And definitely going to go with you. Let's go ahead and arrange that marriage. It's going to be you and Julius. Let's see. Julius would gain 107 prestige for marrying into House Constantius and -3 for marrying Crusader. Oh, come on. Really? So do I have to pick from rulers then? Hold on. I'm gonna invite you to court anyways. If you're gonna be a courtier, you may as well be my courtier. And then let's limit this to ruler. And that brings us down to one person. Okay. Not making this easy for me. What if I said no? Any. There's 3 options. Okay. Well, we're just gonna have to suck it up then and take the hit. Because clearly that's not really something that we can work around. And then that needs to be yes. And we'll just go ahead and do it from here. Oh, okay, I have to wait for her response. So let's go ahead and start. And I'll play it either 2 or 3x depending on how frequently things are happening. I'm probably only going to slow down to 1x if things, like during wars and stuff. Okay, so she's going to accept our proposal. Let's go ahead and arrange a marriage between you and ourselves. And we are going to take that hit. I'm not going to make it matrilineal. So she gains a bunch of prestige. We lose a bunch of prestige, but it is what it is. There wasn't any courtiers or non-courtiers that we could marry. So, yeah. There it is. 10 gold or 50 prestige. Let's get some of that prestige back, huh? Well, at least we're sort of back toward the positive. I need a new ambition. she's going to accept as well. Let's clear some of these out. New ambition. What's it going to be? It could be that, because, again, we are already working on this. That would give me a free point into stewardship and 100 prestige. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. That way, we don't miss out on this, because whenever it goes through, if we don't have that, we're not gonna be able to get that +1 or the +100 prestige. So I think it's better to kind of tentatively do it now and preempt it. And okay, that's looking good. So our next hope is to have a daughter. If we have a daughter, we can try to establish some sort of marriage between her, or a betrothal between her and the future emperor, or the current emperor who's a child. And maybe make something happen there. In my other Crusader Kings playthroughs, we've had pretty good luck with arranged marriages and making, you know, big political moves with maybe a marriage here and an unfortunate death there. But I don't know if that's going to work here, because there's no way he accepts a matrilineal marriage there. An important church has been constructed in the lands of Connor, heralded as the site where St. Patrick himself herded sheep when a slave. The newly constructed diocese of Connor stands as a triumph of the conversion of Ireland. Okay. Whoa, pause. A message about arranged marriage. Who is this? This is the ruler of Thrace, which would be up here. Oh, way too far. Move. Okay. Is that you? I can't tell. Because Thrace is kind of... I mean, this would be like Thrace here. Who's your king? Okay, so where are you? Oh, you're within the Byzantine Empire. Okay, that makes sense. So, I mean, that's like more Dacia, isn't it? Anyway, he wants to marry Blodwyn, the Britain I just brought in. I think I'm going to say no. I brought her in to marry to some of our other lords, so I'm going to decline. And I actually want to look through and make sure, like, my really skilled people are married, so see, he's not. So if we wanted to arrange a marriage for him, well, it would have to be you. You and, let's see, I think they have to be highborn. So I could marry him into this family. Neither of you has particularly good martial skill, so I can't kind of like try to breed martial skill into you or into your children. Let's see. Leaders of holy orders and mercenary companies cannot marry. Are you leader of a holy order or mercenary company and I'm not aware of that? Or are you? I doubt you are. Maybe because he's the leader of the 1st Italian Legion? I think that might be why. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, so I can't control marriage with him. Let's keep this moving while I do this. Galenius, you are in my court, but I can't control that. Are you trying to marry her as well? Lex Burgundianum. Okay. The King of the Burgundians has issued a new law creating an official recording of the customs of his people that has their consent. These laws have both Roman and Burgundian influence, and some see it as a way of legitimizing the Burgund rule in the old Roman province of Maxima Sequanorum. Okay. Is that sort of like an early Magna Carta type thing? How dare these heretics inspire themselves of Rome? Why do I lose piety for that? Great, now I have negative piety too. Definitely decline. Definitely decline. And, oh, she's got a fancy head thing now. Right. So, who was the other guy that was pretty good at martial skill? Was it you, Justin? Yeah. Let's get you married. You're fairly young as well. Let's sort by martial skill. Okay, apparently there's not a whole lot of options there. Not a whole lot. Got some Romano-Gallic ladies here. They're both 36. Massive recruitment drive, sweet. Why are his options so limited? Ooh, because I think... Yeah, the two women I was looking at marrying to the other guy are actually his sisters. So that's not going to work. Do we get different options if we do it this way? We do, okay. So, you're probably too old. You actually have decent martial skill. I mean, you're both kind of the same, aren't you? Administrator. They're both actually very good stewards. I'll marry him to Faustina. There we go. So you can start producing some martial children for me. And I think with that, we're going to go ahead and end the episode. I know we didn't get very far, but obviously there's a lot of setup involved in these campaigns. So again, this is kind of tentative. If there isn't a whole lot of interest for this playthrough, then I apologize to those of you who are interested, because we're just going to have to find something else to play. But as long as there's a little bit of interest there, I'm happy to continue playing this. I do enjoy Crusader Kings quite a bit, and it's very easy for me to record. It's very laid back. So I'm hoping that this is popular and we get to see more, but obviously that's up to you guys. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I had a great time playing some Crusader Kings 2 with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for the next episode.